Joining us once again from Oxnard, California, the site of Cowboys training camp in the Wild Fork Foods hot seat, wildforkfoods.com. Elite game day grilling favorites is Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com. Good morning, Nicholas. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Doing okay. Your sit down with Stephen Jones. What did you get out of that yesterday?
I'm trying to think because obviously it wasn't yesterday. It was like 3 days ago or 2 days ago. So I'm thinking, I don't know, it might have gone up yesterday, but I'm trying to think what it was. He didn't want to talk about a lot about Micah, shockingly. I talked to a lot of them about Schottenheimer and wanting to win for his dad and how that's something obviously that Steven can relate to. So, it was kind of just a basic interview. I can't think of a lot of just, groundbreaking stuff that came out of that. I mean, he named a couple players he's excited about from the defensive side that had a good day on that first day. But for the most part, it was kind of regular stuff.
Bobby thinks that Steven has been a little bit more surly this off season. Have you detected that? And if you agree, why do you think that is?
Just from the press conference, if that was a little bit unusual because there's been times where the press conference will go, 30 minutes, 20, 40 minutes, and he doesn't get addressed, with a question or anything. He was just grabbing the mic and like, no, that's not true, or that's never been the case, or something like that. For a reason why I'm not sure. I mean, this is an off season that's it has been somewhat different because they have been a little bit more active with free agency and things like that. I just feel like maybe there's pressure's mounting a little bit more and more, or he's just getting a little older and more agitated. I don't know, but you could see it in the press conference that there were some things where the questions weren't even addressed to him, and he answered them, which is fine. He's up there.
Nick,
so, I like it.
Nick, my latest Micah theory, and I have 14 of them now, I'm trying to guess all this craziness and what really is happening. My latest theory is now this is not about the guaranteed money and this is not about the average per year, that this really is about evaluating Micah the person and the leadership, that he doesn't become what Diggs did once Diggs got his money. And that this thing, Mike Florio swears this thing could go into next year with Jerry undercutting Micah now that he showed up to camp. How much do you think right now is about the money versus the person?
I think you're on to something with that. I mean, I think there's more to it than just the money. I think we pretty much know what it would take, right? I mean, like all the big contracts have been out there. He wants to be the highest paid. I'm sure of that. So I think they kind of know what they want to do. How they get there is some they'll figure that out too. But yeah. Shockingly, I think it is about the leadership and the personality, and the reason why I say that, I just don't agree with it. I really don't. I think Micah has shown what he needs to show to be that kind of guy. Everybody's going to be different and lead in their own way. He's got a great relationship with Trayvon, but they're not the same. They're not the same person, and I don't think that they're not the same player. And they're not going to have the same contract. So, they're not linked, like I was joking the other day, they're not linked just like a convenience store. There's more, Micah's is the 11 out of this is a lot more. It's a bigger deal. And I feel like that it's one of those things where Micah's got, a little bit of leverage right now. The Cowboys aren't in any hurry. They could always franchise them, so they don't need, And I think that's how these things go. If you remember the last 2 years, same type of thing. You feel like, oh, man, this is going to go forever with Zach Martin, and it's going to go forever with CD, and it did, and they get done. And so I think this is just a kind of a leverage thing, back and forth like a tennis match. I think it'll get done. I think he practices, I have a feeling it might get done sooner than later, actually, but who knows?
First off, do you think the back issue is legit? And second, if he,
you know why I laugh about that is I was talking to a couple of media guys about this. Like, well, what is a hold in? Like, how do you relegate that? And I said, you can say you have a back issue all the time. We all have back issues. Could be the hotel beds. Could be whatever.
Yeah.
You walk around just be getting a little bit older. Like, everybody's got some kind of a back issue. How do you prove that you don't? That was kind of our running joke. And then for him to say that, it made me laugh. If he does, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hate that. Take some Tylenol. But I don't know.
Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com. Join us here, 105 through the Fan.
Hi, RJ, because you're the only one I see. So, what's up, man?
You don't see the rest of them?
Just see RJ. Maybe I don't have the right setup.
Look at that. So I guess it would surprise you then if he gets to week 1 without a deal. And do you
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance he would miss a game? Like he would hold out and miss game checks?
Not at all. I think it's funny that those two guys are standing there next to each other, Micah and Trayvon. And Trayvon, he decided to. He's got a few kids, right? He still decided to lose $500,000. Micah's not losing anything. Micah's not. He's here just because he's not getting the fine. He's not missing a game check at all. I don't think it goes that far, and that's where it'll get interesting because I think the Cowboys are like, deadlines make deals. We're not in any hurry. They can't miss any. They can't be without Micah for a game, and Micah can't be without a game check. So I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think that it'll go that far. And he's here right now, and maybe he decides what he wants to do. I think he made a comment about talking to CD and not wanting to have too much rust and all that. So I would think he might. His mental deadline might be even earlier than let's say CD or Dak. Dak never had one. Dak was here the whole time.
Nick, you mentioned CD there and the conversations that Mike had with him. I thought CD was really good yesterday and really fascinating the way that he talked about the time that he missed in training camp and how he said, I was doing everything I could do to get ready, but I realized that doesn't mean much if I'm in the best shape, but it's not within the context of the team. The team knows what I can do, and we have that chemistry. Do you think any of that is at play for Micah or anything else? And just in general, kind of your thoughts on what CD had to say yesterday.
Yeah, I think CD. It was fascinating. He talked a lot, and it's funny to kind of remember like, oh man, how much that he missed last year because he wasn't. He never did that. Never went to the podium. Never. Obviously wasn't here. It's funny. He's showing that leadership, if you will, for what you're looking for after the guy that makes a deal. So I thought that was interesting. He had a lot of great things to say about Micah's situation and Pickens, all that. It makes me think, though. You go back to I think you guys asked the question about Micah and what else he needs to see. Micah can play the game. If you remember training camp last year. I mean, he was saying that, the nicest things in the world about Jerry and Tyron Smith and all that kind of stuff. He'll play this game. That's what he's doing. I think this thing's going to happen. You mentioned I had a couple conversations yesterday about being here and being somewhere else and Trayvon and all that. And I just think that the Cowboys know how different it is. Especially for like Diggs. You can rehab all you want, but you're rehabbing to get your knee better. You're not rehabbing to get your knee better and playing football. I'm talking about being at other places, other athletic trainers and all that. These guys know how to get you ready so you can go play football. It's a different type of rehab, and I think that's why they were kind of upset. Yeah, Diggs told him where he was. Cool. That doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
Just because the kid says, hey, Dad, I'm out here, until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You know where I am. Well, that doesn't mean I'm not going to come get you.
Right.
In this case, they didn't, but you know what I'm saying. I think the frustrating part is that you're setting that's why they took the money. It's like now you come here. You're not as ready as you need to be. You're with Britt Brown the whole time. Britt's got other guys he's got to deal with, and you should be further along. If you were here, you probably would have been.
Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com, and the Wild Fork Foods hot seat from Oxnard, California. Let's take it to the actual field and discuss the actual sport. What stood out yesterday or over the first 2 days of practice to you?
Well, the defense is taking the ball to the ground. You know what I mean? They're knocking the ball out. The ball has hit the ground a lot in the last 2 days. Not great for the offense, obviously, but most of these are the defense making plays. You know, you see a lot. I've heard Peanut Tillman's name several times. It just in walking around if you guys know, he was the one that would. Oh, now. He was one of the guys that was punching the ball out. I recently did an interview with Kenny Gant for Shark Week. It wasn't for Shark Week. It was for a documentary. But he was like, Peanut Tillman, we were doing that 10 years before you. But they're doing it out here. They're knocking the ball out. The defense flying around. But if you remember, and you guys know this, you've been to enough of these practices. Isn't that always what happens?
Yeah.
The defense always is the one, especially when you can't hit anyone. They fly around and they make all these plays. Let's get physical and let's see what happens when you start really pushing people around. But right now, defensive team speed is what's showing out, and they're flying around to the ball.
Do you already feel better about Joe Milton than you ever did Trey Lance?
Not really. No.
All right, you're breaking up here, Nick.
No, I get it. He was the Rocky Top guy and all that. He can throw it better than. I said this the other day. You take him to the state fair, he's going to win the Panda. You know what I mean? He can throw it. He's got such a great arm. The accuracy. I don't know how many throws it takes to get there. I don't know. But what's funny about him is he's got that cornerbacks mentality of the terrible memory. We've seen 3 or 4 not too great of a throws here. Then he hits another one. He's jumping around, talking crap to the defensive guys and all that, and you're like. Yeah, you're like 1 of 6 right now, but he's getting it. He can run. He's tall. Yes, he can throw. Arm strength. Check. Just the processing part of it, and it's his first time with this offense, so that's going to take a little bit. We had a running joke. I said Phil Moffa is going to lead the NFL in rushing in preseason, and I was told, it was a funny joke. That's probably going to be Joe Milton, because he'll take off and run, and maybe there's something to that too.
You mentioned the offenses. We're talking with Nick Eatman here on 105 through the Fan. Nick, there's been a lot of buzz building in the last 2 days about, oh my gosh, all this motion. It looks so different. Schottenheimer's going to change things up. From what you're seeing out there and what you saw in OTAs and minicamp, the motion discussion and all the exotic stuff, is that legitimately exciting, or do you think that's a little bit of training camp fluff?
Both. I think both can be true. It's exciting to see some of the things. One thing I'll say is last year we saw a little bit of difference at the end of the year. They had to trick it up some without Dak there, and one of the things that we saw was Turpin, doing a lot more, even running the football, and rumor has it that was one of the Schottenheimer ideas that he had late at the end of the year, and I like seeing that out of Turpin. He is maybe not the best choice of words, but he is a weapon for this team. He is. He definitely is, and he can. And I like that they're utilizing that. It's still scary when he runs the ball right between the tackles, but nothing's going to happen in a training camp practice. But I like how they're moving him around, moving other guys around. But the guys have to be. They all have to be smart enough to do it. You have to, when you're moving these guys around like that, that means everybody moves. It means everybody needs to learn what's going on. And I think to have CD and Pickens both here, I think the wide receiver position is as strong as it's been in a long time, especially because they're practicing right now with Dak. Dak was here last year, but he didn't have the studs with him, Now he does, and I think that offense is going to be really good earlier in the season.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it as always,
right.
And we will see you in person in a couple days.
Love it. See you guys.
The great Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com.